good video.
All right, so I mean, let's pick up from where we left off. Basically, whatever you guys wanted to share last time, let's do it today. Like I
Okay.
said, I do have another interview at 3.
I
Um,
know I caught that, yes.
yeah, I
That's what
might.
confused me.
Yeah, yeah, I might ask them to do maybe like 10 minutes later. Let's see if they'll be able to show up a little bit later. Um, but yeah, if you guys will still have
If
more
not,
stuff
we
to
can always
share,
do a part two. That's fine.
yeah,
I don't want you to change your schedule around. Charlie and I, he's retired Army. I was hurting work. This is basically it. We're here.
Yeah.
got it,
Trying to
got
breathe.
it. Sure, that makes sense. All right, so yeah, just like what we did last time, just tell us what happened, and I might have some follow-up questions for you, maybe some discussion, and yeah, I'm super excited to hear your stories.
Okay, well, in my case, I grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was born in 71, and I've just aged myself. And my neighborhood used to be high into textiles, dyeing, and things like that. Dyeing materials, making color, and tending to leather. In time, the industry died, left a bunch of empty houses. Everything went. But when I got there, it was okay, except the house. Um, there were things going on that didn't make any sense really to anybody living in there a lot of the time. Things would move, weird things like that. The standard stuff that you find in houses, noises. Okay, it's an old house, it's settling. Creaking of a door. All right, maybe one of the cats just brushed against it. No matter what, you just wash it away. Um, Except this one time. We'll start with my baby sister. She was at the house. Well, obviously, she lived there. My mother, my sister, myself, and my father were living. Kelly was down the street. She was at the house with us. And we had a big old sofa poster, a painting with a big frame that was really famous in the 70s. The kinds that lit up the different scenes. If it was lamps, they'd light up. If it was like little bridge lights, the bridge water would have illumination underneath it, so it looked like it was running. Ours was two Spanish dancing people, and it was lovely. It hung on the wall the entire time of my childhood. It was a wedding gift from my grandpa to my mom. That's why it had a place of honor. Well, we've been sitting on the sofa, which was right underneath it, hence sofa painting. And we walked away from it, and my mom went and sat in the recliner across from that sofa, which was back to the stairwell. My little sister came toddling around. She was about 2 years old. And Kelly and I went that way toward something I was playing with. And my mom went, "Oh my God." And we all looked at her, and then we looked at the wall because the painting, and I will use this for an example for you. Red shows better. It was on the wall. It went up, came out, went like this,
Boom.
right onto the table where my sister had just been standing. Sorry. Best way to show it.
No.
And it ended up, my mom was really freaked out by that, but it got a little creepier because Kelly was sleeping over that night. And with mom having moved the chair to the stairwell, that gave her a nice view up the steps. All right, she could see if we were coming and going. Good place to be for a mom. Well, she saw something looking down the steps at her that she described as two large red eyes. Did she come upstairs and yell for us? No. Did she come and try to save us? No.
Definitely not
She
that.
froze in her seat. Well, I can't blame her. The same night, Kelly Ann, who was sleeping over after the whole painting thing, shook me awake, screeching in my ear. I'm like, "What?" I thought she had a nightmare. And she said, "Lisa, I just saw something." And I'm like, "Okay, what was it?" And she said, "There were two red eyes, and they were just over you as you were sleeping, and they were looking right at you." And I screamed, and they disappeared. And I said,
What?
"Oh." Yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay." Now, when my sister and I had been younger, we were about 2, a little pre-story. we had been old enough to toddler, and we were going. I first went to visit my father in the basement with nobody knowing, and Dad had the wooden steps and the pole, nothing to stop you from going over the side. So you had to be tall enough to hold the railing so not to get wobbly on the steps. I wasn't. I went down the steps because I wanted to see Daddy, and somewhere along the lines, I tripped on something, and my body went like this, head forward. My mother says, and she swore upon it, that she saw my collar go like this, pull back, and I was able to reach out and grab onto the thing, and she was able to get me. Okay, that's kind of weird. I was about 2. My sister goes and does the same routine around the same age. Same thing happens. Pull back on the shirt. Baby got up in upper position, grabbed the railing. So whatever was in the house, I don't know if at that point if it was negative, positive, or maybe both. There could be more than one thing. Ouija boards. I recommend anybody who's going to use them, A, don't use them. B, if you're going to use them wisely. And C, never, ever use them by yourself, whatever you do.
Exactly.
3 general rules. Never ask about death. Never accept who it tells you it is because they are known to be liars. A Ouija board is a telephone without caller ID. You pick it up, it can tell you whoever it wants to tell you it is, and you're not going to know. We were trying to connect with somebody who Melanie had lost, or maybe I had lost at that point. I'm not sure because we both had lost people at that age. And we were in the living room doing the board, and she was my best friend since kindergarten. It seemed like when we got together, stuff would start popping. So we were doing the board, and suddenly it got very insulting, and we'll get to that story. So we knew who it was. It wasn't who we were looking for. So in trying to get in control of the board, we hear a knock on the front door. Just a big old cop knock. Bang, bang, bang. We saw the board just froze. Our hands went. I look at her. She looks at me. My mom gets up, goes to the door. She goes, "Oh, hi, Father Tom." And we went, popped the board, threw it across the room, landed behind a radiator, through the planchette in the corner. "Hello, Father Tom. How are you today?" He looks at us. He goes, "What were you up to?" We look at him. "What do you mean?" He said, "Look, you can't play with me. I was coming down the side street. Something told me, stop into your house because you're up to no good." I looked at him. I said, "Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. We were using the board." He says, "Lisa, what have I, typical speech you'll get. What have I told you about using the board?" I know, but I'm so curious." I said, "But funny, it stopped. I guess when you got to the gate, from the timing of everything, why? It's like it chickened out. What happened?" He said, "Well, I had done a ceremony to help somebody who had a problem paranormally." He said, "And they put a protection spell on me. Nothing evil can really operate when I'm around, at least easily." Which kind of would explain why it was so vulgar, why it wasn't the person we were speaking to, and why it froze the moment that, like a second before that door got banged on. Everything just froze, and bang, 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 and we flipped it when she yelled, "Father Tom." So we had that.
Incredible.
There was one time we had to meet. Huh? Oh yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I do remember. I do remember you mentioned that story previous time, and I guess one thing I forgot to ask is like, was there a shift in the energy? Like, did you feel like the air change? Maybe.
I didn't, but I can't answer for Mel. She looked as shocked as I did. She was more the sensitive one. She had very, very bad health, and she danced on the line between life and death every day with kidney failure, heart problems. So she was closer to that veil than I was. So I relied on her for the instinct.
Right.
sometimes unfairly. For example, there was one day, it was a Sunday. I know it was a Sunday because that was our normal day to visit. And she come to the house. And all day long before she got there, I thought I had caught what I would envision as bright lights just popping around. And I thought, all right, maybe I'm having a migraine because that happens. You know, you see flashes. You can't take it for granted when you have migraines. So I thought, well, it's Sunday. Mel will be here. I'm just not going to say anything to her. See if she picks up anything. I mean, that's not fair. So she's at the house and she's getting real jumpy and looking around. And I'm like, hey, what's the matter, babe? She says, Lee, is anything happening around here? I said, well, today is kind of strange. And I was going to ask you. Gonna ask me about it? What do you mean you were gonna? You know damn right well something's wrong here. And it's all over this house. And she got increasingly uncomfortable. At night we went home, and as we were talking about this all day long, trying to figure out what it is. Mom's trying to send me in the back bottom of the basement, the one place nobody ever went. Is it back there? You think I'm going back there? You're not going there. I'm not going there. One place no one ever went. Could have been the answer. And we're leaving the house that day. We're standing on the porch, and I did the dumbest thing anybody can ever do. Never invited to stay.
Yeah.
I turned around, and I put a condition on it, but it doesn't matter. I said, well, if it's bad, it's got to go. But if it's good, it can stay. And all of a sudden, in a semicircular kind of tingly type sound, we heard a giggling, like a little itty bitty child was just floating around us at our faces, giggling right in our faces. Mom, Mel, Joan, sprint out the house, leave me standing in the porch.
Again.
They look at me, and I looked at them, and I said, wait, you heard that? They said, yeah, we heard that. Mom says, go bless the house. I'm looking at her like, how do you think I know how to do this? Just because I read the books doesn't mean I'm prepared. So we had some holy water, which had been blessed by the Pope. Earlier in the day, because of the way things were, I had bought it out the freezer, knowing we might need some. So it had frozen and thawed a bit, so I went around and did a little sprinkling with what I could muster up. We left the house, and my mom made me the first one to walk back in just in case it was still there. So I was kind of a guinea pig in the household. When I would get angry, my sister reminded me of this after we initially spoke. She's like, tell them about the dark things. I'm like, I forgot about that. Shadow people. When you're angry, I'm angry, they tend to come.
Shadow people?
In form or sensation. Yeah. I was really, really mad at an ex-boyfriend of mine once. And I didn't get the chance to tell him how angry I was, so I was upstairs stewing. I'm Irish, so I stew. She came upstairs about midnight, knocked on my door, popped her head, and she's like, hey, who are you mad at? Lights are off. I glance at the door light. I'm like, why? She says, whoever it is, could you just get it out and tell me? All my friends are getting freaked out. They want to go home. I said, honey, it's midnight. Nobody's going to come for them. She says, I don't care. They want to go home. You're scaring them. I said, how am I scaring them? I'm upstairs. Your people are showing up. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Ends up, they saw a shadow of a hand come around the corner and reach like this and pull along the wall and disappear down toward the cellar. And that's what prompted her to come upstairs. And even when I was younger, when I was under duress, if I was laying down, I could see the darkness start to take over the doorway. Negativity draws negativity. And I have had to learn over my life not to let things really eat at me, or it's going to show up and scare the entire family. The house I had in Custer Street in Philadelphia, for example, we have curtains right now hanging over our doorways. Just a little tidy in the heat. After I had left, I gave it away to a friend of mine. I wasn't going to go back. The person needed the place. But while I was there with them, the woman came upstairs screaming at the top of her lungs, calling me downstairs, begging me to come. Ended up, she saw something reach out from the curtain, pushing it inward towards the living room, and she saw a hand drag all the way down.
Oh my goodness.
And then the curtain just went limp again.
Was it like a
And
really...
I was like, all right.
Was it like a really large hand?
It was like, yeah, she said it looked like it was big.
Whoa.
And it just pushed the curtain outward and down. And then when it let go, the whole curtain just fell back to the doorway.
Wow.
She went into a bloody murder scream, ran up the steps to me and got me and brought me all downstairs. I had to sit there with her for a good 4 hours and convince her not to leave in the middle of the night because it wasn't safe in our neighborhood. I told her how to convince her she was safer with the thing that lived here than she would have been out on the streets of Kensington at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Better than
Not good. Not good. She would have been killed there. This thing, not so much. So I stayed there, and I think I know what happened is the neighborhood itself had just been gone downhill for so long, and it was just such a violent neighborhood. I think it was just to pass her through. However, at this house, he had an experience, which I did not have, with a being in full physical formation, making no sound, though, coming down the steps. And if you'd like, I could have him tell you that.
Sure.
Here?
Yeah,
No, Fremont, Kimmy. The Kimmy thing. Coming down the stairs.
Oh, that wasn't Fremont. That was Philly.
Philly, yeah, Custer Street.
That was in Custer Street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was sitting there on the couch and stuff, just couldn't sleep. I have insomnia from combat damage. So I have a horrible time not sleeping. So I'm just reading stuff on my phone. And my daughter, who is like 5'7", 5'9", she's tall. Yeah,
she was a good 5 foot at that point.
Yeah, but she's tall. And this what appeared to be my stepdaughter walking down the stairs, quiet as could be. These stairs creak. They're
old. 100-year-old wooden
1906
stairs.
was the date of manufacture for these things.
And I moved in 2011.
So. And the house is falling apart. So I mean, and you can't get past this stuff. It's like you can't walk past the Legos. If Legos are on the floor, you're gonna find one. So and he said it came down 3 or 4 steps, kept his body
bent overhead,
pointed down the where the railing was, and then just rotated his head, like it was on an axis.
Wild.
And then while keeping his head rotated fixed on me, the body turned around and went back up the stairs. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck is? I'm sorry. Oh, what is your problem? Where this is Philly, so it's feral out there. And I mean, oh hell no. So I went upstairs and I woke her up. I'm like, hey, will you just come downstairs? She said, no, I'm sleeping. And it really seemed like she was asleep, because. And
she hates getting woken up.
My daughter is a horrible liar. My own daughter, she's great. She's an accomplished liar. But my stepdaughter can't lie and save her life. So she's tired. She's like, okay, yeah, what, Charlie? And she said, my God, just walk down the steps. Just please, walk down the steps like you're trying to sneak something past me. She's like, why would I do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just need to see if the stairs work.
If the stairs work.
You just run with me on this. And she's like, okay, or whatever. She just goes down the stairs. I'm like, do it one more time. Like, oh, fine.
Now bend over, don't fall down, and look at me.
He does it the second time. I'm like, did you try hard? And she's like, dude, to do what? She said, I'm like, as a story guy, you just came, and I told her what happened, and stuff, and she's like, no, I'm sleeping.
Unbelievable.
And you woke me up. Now I'm awake.
Now I'm awake. So yeah, she's had a few experiences at that house, even with his younger daughter. There was one time and this will probably be covered in the next one because it's quite the story about the thing from the shore. They had opened the basement door to go down to play billiards, changed their mind immediately when they saw what was coming up at them. 6 feet long, mangy looking like a werewolf with big old claws at the bottom of the steps.
Oh, is it the wolf?
Bang!
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Bang went the door. Ah! Went the girls. And I'm like, what? They're like, Mom, it's downstairs. I'm like, okay. I got up.
Yeah,
It's been with me since I was 13. I got up. I opened the door. I'm like, leave the kids alone. Slammed the door. They were ready to go down. About an hour later, figured, okay, I'm going down with them. We're going to face each other. Went down. Everything was fine. It was perfectly light. Perfectly light. But there were a few times we had to smudge the house, and smudging doesn't always work. Sometimes it upsets what's in there, and things will pick up for a while. I did use a Ouija board in the house, which I made on my own. My problem was I forgot to close it at one point, so I don't know everything that was coming in and through the house. He was the one who made me more aware that I hadn't closed the board when he began pointing out the weird things happening. And when I realized with the curtain and the big hand, I was like, I don't think I did that, did I? So I had to go and destroy what I used, and I destroyed the board. Second one I had to. One other one that I had tried to destroy actually had come flying at me. So that's why I decided to destroy it, because it's suddenly an inanimate object became extremely animate. My mom had the theory that if you put everything in one big pile, in order to clean, to get to the sofa or your bed, you'd have to clean through it. Perfect. So that was her idea for our front porch where our toys were kept. So she piled it all up on the sofa that was sitting there and covered it with a blanket. My board was on top with the oracle on that. I'm getting ready to go someplace, but I come out the front door and I go toward the side of the porch to grab something, probably my bike, because I was going somewhere. That's the only thing I kept there. And as I turn around to go to the door, this thing just comes flying by me. And like, what? Did one of these? And I look and I'm like, you stinker. The board had went airborne from the top of the sofa on a flat, it had been there for 2 days. It went airborne at my head. So I'm like, we're not having this. I called my friend up, who was a priest, and I asked him, all right, you win, what do I do? I explained to him what happened. He's like, that's not good news. Okay, this is what you do, and he gave me all this stuff to do. So I did that, and then I asked my dad, who was a stocky Irishman, to break the board, because I was just a whimsy little 75-pound thing at this point. I had no physical strength. Then I asked my mom, could you break the board? Because Dad was failing at it. He was stepping on it, trying to pull it, and all it is pressed cardboard. It's made by Parker Brothers, for crying out loud. And she couldn't do it. And they're looking at me like, why is this acting like iron? So I turned around like, I don't know, but it's really getting on my nerve, and broke it directly over my knee.
Because it was yours.
They both looked at me and took 2 steps back. So we'd been in a lawsuit with the dude next door. So I broke the oracle inside the planchette, and I figured he can have that. He was causing my problems for my mom and dad. So got the board, got rid of that. On the way out to throw the planchette in, I feel something go right up my back, both sides. My neck went back, my face went down, and I went boom, right along asphalt. I got all scratched up. First blood. Man, I was annoyed. I looked at that thing. I spat the blood on it, and I threw it into the neighbor's yard, cursing it all the way. Got back in the house. Father Tom called. He says, it's over? I said, how'd you know? How do you feel? I said, okay. He said, catch your face. Well, he says, now are we going to mess with these things again? I'm like, probably. But at least now I know what not to do and where to send it if I don't want it. So that was kind of good. And I know there is something about Custer I am missing. Oh, yeah. Ouija board. This I don't even have an explanation for. You don't know this one. My uncle Billy, my dad's brother, had a friend who spent a long time in jail, so he wasn't afraid of anything.
Sure.
He had a wife named Lisa. His name was, let's say Ron, I forgot. Anyway, Lisa and Ron have Mom and me over the house one night, and he had, of all things, a trained police shepherd that had been retired. It had been retired because it bit too many people. It was vicious. So anytime anyone had to come in, they put the dog in the back bedroom with a lock on the door. Padlock. We're leaving. I've got my little board in front of my little self. I'm all up maybe 16. Tootling out the side kitchen door into the living room, and suddenly we hear bang! Thump, 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 thump. And there's the dog. He went through the door.
No.
He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. I don't get along with dogs. I'm a cat person. So I freeze. Everyone freezes. Jeff was his name. Not Jeff. He put his arm in like this. I said, I didn't want him touching the board because I didn't want anyone getting there, And I just stood there, and the dog went, I kid you not, big police dog. Face went down to the ground. Hands went like this, paws, hands. And he went, started backing up, whining with his eyes staring at the board, and bolted back up the steps.
Wow.
That scared the gentleman that had been in jail for a long time. Actually, that scared me because I still have no explanation for why a trained attack dog who was a little local did not take the opportunity of the dumb teenager standing right in front of him, but seemed to react extremely negatively to the board. But in a way, it saved me too. So was it good or was it bad? Or am I just that odd person who gets somewhat protected by bad things? It seems that way because everybody I've used the board with, they're dead. I'm the only one alive. And I feel in a way that's my punishment for introducing it to them because I'm the last man standing. The thing threatened my best friend. My best friend died from kidney failure. It made remarks about my mom. My mother eventually died, kidney failure.
Yeah, but like we've used it together and stuff.
Well, he's still standing.
I'm still standing, but the circumstances by which we were alive
is very rare.
It's very rare.
There's a few times he should have died, but because his extremely hard skeleton, he managed to make it through. But most of his stuff was before he met me. But there are quite a few times, like he fell off my roof twice.
Wow.
He should have been dead at least one time, and he's fine. Well, his leg hurts, but he's fine.
I mean, last month I lost use of my legs. So things I had the binder on, so it's been weird. I had to have a colonoscopy done back in May of 2024, and in order to do that, they used fentanyl as a drug to knock you out with because it's easy. Well, they knocked me out, and I remember going to sleep. I remember hearing a whole bunch of alarms, sirens.
He was semi-conscious.
They said I had sleep apnea event while I was asleep, and then next time I wake up not breathing because I'm dead, and I'm in this small little room and something's a lot smaller than this, maybe small size of this couch, and and this person without a face, and this dark, dreary horrible room. And so with a bed in it. He asked me, "Do you want to stay or do you want to go?" And I was like, well, the kid in me is like, "I don't want to go." And then next I know is the guy just snaps his fingers, and then I show up back in the in surgery, and they're doing all kinds of. This Indian guy's got me by my shoulders. He's going. Like, I'm like, he's yelling at me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You want to see Pappy?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm dead."
But he had no response to that at that point.
And we're like, because at that point in something they had to get me out of the roof. Because
you crawl backward.
When I finally woke up and took a breath and something, I went straight to the ceiling, and went up into the drop ceiling. We had the panels, and it was just they had to get me out of that. Then they just Indian guy was really really cool. I wish I knew had his name, but he was so awesome. He's like, "You're gonna be okay. You have sleep apnea." And I was like, "Oh, all right, cool."
So at least I confirmed he wasn't breathing.
But she on the other side of the wall, after I had told him, informed my wife if I have any problems.
No clue.
Nothing. Didn't tell her. We go in the car. We get in the car. She's driving. She's like, looking at me while I'm a little off, and I'm like, "Let me tell you a story." And then she's like, "Oh my God!" And they didn't even bother. I was like, "I know, right? Yeah. It was messed
Wow,
up.
that's
I don't have any of that.
That's a miracle.
Yeah, I've had a couple of religious passages.
He has a creepier one from
2000?
the car accident.
Yeah.
He actually had the Book of Knowledge blow up in front of his face.
It caught on fire.
That's when he blew up.
Fire.
Yeah, they deemed him brain dead, and he ended up visiting upstairs, or wherever it's located, and ran into his stepfather. So he had a conversation with him, and they told him it wasn't his time, but he got curious, so he wanted to look at the book that was there on the podium.
And that caught on fire.
He wasn't meant to see it, plain and simple. His name wasn't in it, nor did he need to see whose were.
The gates of heaven caught on fire. The fields of heaven caught on fire.
So I tell him we're not going to the same heaven.
And so I'm hovering above York County, Pennsylvania, above the York Memorial Hospital. That's where I actually find where my body is. Something, and I remember blowing into it.
That's when he woke up.
And so I woke up, and I'm like, "Hey, who are you?"
Yeah, he woke up with amnesia.
I had no idea though.
His legs weren't working, and they
I remember
thought he
this
was
though.
dead.
I remember what happened. I just couldn't remember my name for this wife name. Remember everything else though. Like, "What's this?" I'm like, Star Trek Enterprise." "What's your name?" "Charlie."
And he knew that, but that whole book thing just was very, very
really
creepy. There was a time around here we started hearing like footsteps, and of course the door opening, lights going on and off. But I mean, honestly, I'm so used to that. The door opens up. There could be 5 ghosts in this house, and I'm going to chalk it all up to my cats. Must be the most boring house for them, Turn the light on. Cat found a way. Door opens. Cats open the door. But in here, it's been relatively quiet, except for a few, footsteps on the ground, doors. One time we came home from a visit away in Philadelphia and found the mirror in our guest bathroom laying on the ground, same way as I mentioned the photograph in my mom's house was. The hooks were still and that's the creepy thing about my mom's painting. The hooks were still upright. They didn't break. They didn't bend. They were still the same way they've been for 20 years.
Yeah,
it went up, out, and down. So it missed the hooks. It was like something was on both sides just picking it up, like 2 people. But we came home here once, and I went into the guest bathroom like, how the hell did this happen? So I go to pick it up expecting broken glass. I look up at the wall. The hook's still nice and tight. I'm like, oh, gee, again? I hang it back off, like, and off I go. You just kind of roll with it after you get used to it after a while.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Do you guys do anything to...
There was one
Sorry,
time on
do you guys do anything to protect your new house?
I have fallen back, really the Hail Mary, because from what I have read, no matter what faith, it seems to be when someone murmurs the Hail Mary, nothing can stand against her. There have been cases of exorcisms that have been done by the Catholic Church that failed and failed miserably until they called upon her. Apparently, the moment she steps in, they step out. They just can't face her. So anybody who comes to me with a problem, that's the first thing I'll tell them. Remember the Hail Mary, especially the second part. Protect us until we die. She doesn't need all the praise in the front. She wants you to worry about that second part, the help. I have certain medallions that are, again, organized religion. Yeah, the organized religion, not supernaturals, pentacle in flames. That is not a protection device. That's just a really pretty tattoo.
It is good marketing.
This is just too complicated to draw, is all it came down to, I think. So I hung 2 of these on my bed. I put a crucifix above it. So our room is quiet. No matter what happens, it's never in our room. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I did have a gallon of holy water, which was closed, but somehow managed to evaporate out of a closed bottle. Only that bottle. I had another gallon next to it, and that's fine.
Yeah,
so I need more holy water.
I can't explain that.
We have sprinkled. And just basically trying to keep it as stress-less as possible, so those negative things being around don't feel the desire to want to milk off it. I don't want to give it strength. The first thing you don't want to do is you don't want to be afraid, because evil things, negative things, thrive on your fear. It's candy to them. They love it. You taste better with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was proper when it said that on the show. You better scared. Yeah, fear is what keeps things like that going.
Gives things flavor.
Yeah, it gives things flavor. But other than that, we have to get back on some kind of a mass schedule. That would be nice. I know there's many different faiths, and I'm not negating anybody's. I practiced Wicca. I consider myself a roaming Catholic witch, if that makes any sense. I'm a little of this and a little of that. But I can't give up the Virgin Mother, nor can I give up independence of thought. So somehow I have to make those 2 work. And by doing that, I fall back on the Hail Mary, certain metals. We got reliquaries, material from the saints, bones, things like that. I began collecting that, and everything got quiet. However, I took them to see my priest friend that I mentioned earlier, a couple states away. While I was away with all my goodies, he called me up and told me the noises had started again. Because I had removed everything from the house. So I told him I was like, just hang in there, baby. I'll be home in a few days. Got back home, put them away, metal back up, and it's there. Everything stopped. So I think as long as I've got that going, and we stayed to a relative calmness, not saying we're never going to argue, but as long as it gets healed and it's not like a week-long thing where it's just anger, then I think we're living pretty clear. Pretty clear. I'd like to say we had a helpful spirit who did the dishes, but I'm not that lucky.
Wow. Yeah, I guess you could use the Ouija board, but it's too dangerous, Like you said, it's
I can't say I never will again, but I can say I will close it immediately upon using it. I will only use cardboard from here on out, so I can close it and burn it right after.
You can burn anything. You just gotta remember.
Cardboard's easier. But yeah, I just think the best way to live when you have them and they're just not going to go away is to just try to live as peaceful of a life that you can. It doesn't matter what your faith is, or even if you have a faith. As long as you try to keep yourself to the point where you can look yourself in the eye at the end of the day and say, I did all right. I didn't hurt anybody on purpose. I didn't hurt myself on purpose. I check out. I'm good. Then I think you're okay if something's in with you. But if you can get help of somebody who can really help you, that would be amazing. But I was never able to find that as a kid, so I just learned how to incorporate them as family members.
Yeah, they chased us for 10 years. He said it's finally been quiet.
Well, the one thing's been chasing me for 40. I'm 50.
I'm like that. It's finally quiet.
41. I'm 54 now.
Hey,
I was 13 then. Yeah, wow, I just really aged myself.
I remember.
Yes, yeah, that started at 13.
Do you still have any supernatural experiences related to that creature?
Oh, it shows up every so often, yeah. I just found a couple bruises on me, which I bruise easily due to a genetic condition, but not in these spots. That girls usually would need somebody to help them bruise it. My best friend is now dead, so I can't compare notes with her anymore, because usually if it happened to me, it happened to her. All I know is her poor family has suffered irrevocably since her passing and involvement in this. So I think it's going on to the second generation. Her children have seen things. My daughter has experienced things. She's had a bed literally start bouncing around the room. She's willing to talk to you if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we tried saging the house once that didn't take the wolf away. It is something preternatural. It's bigger than I am. I think it's just a force of nature, and it's going to be here. It's lightened up. It's not as attackive as it used to be. But the Christmas time holidays, it loves to bastardize that because, Christ's birth, anything negative is going to want to raise its ugly eyebrows around that time of the year. And it also pops up around August, the end of August, when it originally popped up. So my danger weeks are the last week of August, the first week of September. My best friend died in the second week of September. And Christmas. So.
I see.
Yeah, so it's not come to pass yet. It's getting closer. Might have more news for you next week.
Right. Yeah, it totally makes sense. Speaking of holidays and things like that, I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on Halloween? Is it just for fun, or it does have some kind of real supernatural energy to it?
It depends on who's operating. If you're somebody who believes in it, or comes from a lineage who believes in it, then just like any religious festivity, yeah, it'll be something. Now, do we read into our religious experiences with our own mentality? Sure. Is it all just spiritual? I don't know, but I do believe that you can work easier with the occult on that day. However, I do not believe that in order to get over, spirits only need one day a year. They're here. They're all around us. We just have to tune in. And we can only do that before our brain gets taught they're not here. Where our marriage is on Halloween, we chose to bring it into a celebratory day. So I have prayer for the ancestors that evening, and our wedding or our anniversary is the day of Christmas, but the night of Halloween. Christmas trees in the corner distracting me. But the night of Halloween, it's all about putting out the crystals and putting out some water and a little bit of food for the lost souls, things like those.
They're remarried on Halloween.
Yeah, just doing that. Yeah, so we'll be hitting 10 years. 10 years on Halloween.
I think it's incredible.
Halloween does have a spiritual significance to it. It all depends on, like you said, if you're into
Druidism,
go into books of knowledge, or if you're going to follow on 3 Musketeers. I mean, people got to take it seriously if they want to get something out of it. Otherwise, it's just candy.
And if you think of it, Christmas is like a little Halloween, because a lot of the traditions for Christmas come from the olden religions
Right.
when they were
Pagans.
being brought into Catholicism. The Christmas tree, if you think about it, it means something, but to me, it resembles the cone of a witch's hat. And then if you think you lay the presents around the bottom, which is the rim,
Right.
yeah, it's like a cone of power. Because the first thing we all look for is a Christmas tree. I see one in the background.
Yeah.
Of
There it
yours.
is.
Yeah. Yours
Exactly.
is hanging over theirs. And they, I believe, that's from, I think, the Druid tradition. But there's
Yeah.
a whole lot of different pre-existing Catholic traditions that are now known as Christmas. If people really read into it, it'll make a lot more sense.
Start with Germany.
Wow.
Germany
Yeah.
was the
Big
beginning
fan of Krampus. I loved
Christmas.
finding out Santa had an evil brother. Ooh, that was fun.
Man, too.
You didn't know?
What is it?
Krampus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
Krampus.
Oh, yeah. This guy scares me a lot.
Krampus, no.
Like,
Yeah, well, thank God I didn't know about it as a kid.
They got some good ones.
I
yeah.
was scared enough of Santa walking in the house, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I do feel Halloween definitely is, it's the witch's new year. And it definitely means a lot. It's been trying to be stomped out in so many different ways, which is just wrong. It's unforgivable. No one religion should have control over the other, is my opinion. Everyone should worship the way they feel they're answering their soul the best. As long as you don't hurt anybody else in the process, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great opinion. I totally agree with that. And we have a couple more minutes left. So do you have one last question for today? It was so interesting to hear all these stories. And so when Charlie mentioned that, when you were in that room and when you were talking to that person, I think you said he didn't have a face, right?
No, and no face whatsoever. That was so strange.
Interesting. So that person did have a head, but it was just like literally blank
Whole
face.
body and everything else.
No discernible features.
No discernible face, no facial features. It was like they forgot to do that part.
Forgot to put it on.
But
then again, there is a saying in demonology that if you're seeing something negative that looks like a human, it will have a major flaw.
I think every time it gets worse. Like I said, first time was heaven. Second time was something else. This time, I said it was a box. And the guy straight actually like, "Do you want to stay or do you want to go?" Like I was, causing him grief. I'm like, well, I want to go. But every time it gets worse, it does get scarier. Like it's been so scary to sleep. Because you don't know if you're going to wake up after again. Some days it's like a built-in confidence that all of us have.
Yeah.
We take it
They're
for
going to
granted.
go to sleep and waking up.
When you sleep at night, you're going to wake up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, well rested, fully filled, and all this energy stuff and blah blah blah.
Nah.
Nope. It really knocked me off my pillar. And it took me about a year to get recover from that. So now I feel I look at life a little bit differently. She's our spiritual leader. Reality, I guess. Like I said, I would, she'll approach it from a spiritual place. I'll be like, what part of my house is falling apart now that can make that sound? Is that a mouse?
Yeah, and yes, those were mice, thank God.
Yep.
Thank God. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things where like I couldn't dispel. I couldn't just write out through logic and something. So, something that happened. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that was messed up. We're gonna leave. We're gonna go.
There was one night I had a dream. I was confronted by 2 demons in the kitchen. It was real because I was in my dream going, I can't get out of here. I was lucid. All right, these things are coming at me, and they're all spiky looking and black gloss, and just eyes and little mouths, just about 7 feet tall, one and then the other, and they were coming from opposite sides. I was caught in the middle. Oh my God! All I kept thinking was, think fast, Lisa, what's that? And I jumped up and I sprung out of bed, threw my arms open and yelled, "Get behind me by the power of Christ!" I screamed it. I looked to the side. He was still asleep.
Yeah, that's the
The cat did not move on my lap. So whatever it was meant just for me.
Wow.
Which is another lovely thing about the supernatural. You could be experiencing something in the next room, loud, and I can be sitting here not hearing a thing. You always think about that haunted house on the block. Imagine what's happening inside it, not meant for anybody else to hear.
Fly on that wall.
Yeah. I remember that dream. It really freaked me out. And there was one other time I saw destruction, and something very large was in back of me. Wrapped its wing around me. And I didn't look down, so I can't tell you what it was. And it asked me, just like it asked him, "Do you want to see?"
Oh, no.
My blood ran cold in the dream because this was the third time I got thrown into the same dream. I woke up, it was terrifying, went to sleep, another pass it, woke up, terrified, another pass it. And then I was just standing there and I put my arms across myself and I said, no, I do not. I do not. And then it just let go. I woke up. I went to him. The only time I ever freaked out, as they gave me the same medication for that because the nightmares were coming so rapidly, that they give to soldiers for PTSD because it had me so messed up. But nothing in that dream, I guess, was meant for anybody else, or he'd have woken up and my cats would have moved because my whole body lunged. I mean, I lunged forward, arms outstretched. That one still gets me.